Welcome back to the Takeout. Time for our CBS Radio Clip of Fame. This one, as they say, is on the nose. To honor the visit of King Charles, we bring you CBS News radio coverage of the coronation of the King's mother, Queen Elizabeth II. It was the first coronation carried on television. Britons watched it live, but film had to be flown to America for later broadcast. That meant radio was first, with word pictures that met a moment of royal grandeur.
This is the coronation. This is the big day in London. This is the great spectacle of the Middle Ages, transforming the world's biggest city into a setting from a fairy tale, splashed with the colors of scarlet and gold, and ringing with the tramp of military boots, the rattling of sword and bayonet, the blare of trumpets, and the clatter of horses' hoofs. This is the day that the young lady named Elizabeth Alexandra Mary is crowned Elizabeth II by the grace of God of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland and her other realms and territories. Queen, head of the Commonwealth, defender of the faith. This is Robert Trout speaking from the center of London, the broadcasting platform high up on the side of the Middlesex Guildhall, opposite Westminster Abbey, where William the Conqueror was crowned nearly 900 years ago, and where today the solemn ceremonies of the coronation are to be acted out before 7,000 privileged guests, mostly peers and peeresses of the realm, in the robes of state, crimson with collars of white fur. Since not long after dawn, the nobles have been in their places inside the Abbey, waiting through the long hours for the great moment when they will place their coronets upon their heads and fill the great church with their cry, "God save Queen Elizabeth, long live Queen Elizabeth, may the Queen live forever."
The sky that morning, dull, gray, the temperatures chilly. Crowds in the tens of thousands waited through rain for 2 days for an event that required 14 months of preparation.
At the moment, I can see the last of the coaches that have brought the princes and princesses of the blood royal standing there before the annex, about to move along. There remains now the last of the processions, the procession from Buckingham Palace. And so for the magical moment when the Queen reveals herself to her capital city on the way to her crowning, we switch from Westminster Abbey to our Canada Gate position outside Buckingham Palace, and to the voice of Edward R. Murray.
Now we are on the Victoria Memorial, directly in front of Buckingham Palace. It's a surly, uncertain sort of day. The royal standard stands stiff in the breeze. The clouds are rather low-hanging. It was on exactly a day such as this that German dive bomber came down through the barrage balloon and hit the northeast corner of the plane. For the last 2 hours, we have been standing here watching the departure of the rulers of the colonies, then the prime ministers of the dominions, Sir Winston Churchill and Lady Churchill. Sir Winston without his cigar, wearing the uniform of the Lord Warden of the Cinque Ports. I can see just through the archway now the royal carriage. It's standing quite silent. Now coming through the center arch as a detachment of the household cavalry. Burnished breastplates, white plumes, black horses. Moving very slowly. So far, we have not seen a man thrown here today, although one Air Chief Marshal had a guardsman holding, or rather leading, his horse. Looking in the opposite direction, we can look about 3/4 of a mile down the Mall to Admiralty Arch. And for the last 35 minutes, guardsmen have been flowing down there like a red river between green banks. Just directly in front of us now, at this end of the Mall, about 50 yards away, we can see the yeomen of the guard and the Queen's bargemen lined up. There is a thin scarlet line of guardsmen on both sides of the Mall. And along the edges of the stands here, the stands being painted blue, there are red geraniums, exactly the same color as the guardsmen's tunics.